Have you ever seen one of those videos where there's a street musician somewhere in a big city, people walking by paying no mind? Then it turns out she's actually a world-class performer with a famous past.
Oh, Steve, I love those videos. Oh, boy. And did you know we had a character like that here on the Eastern Shore?
If it's the 1930s, it must mean it's Throwback Thursday. Please welcome Jim Duffy here with us once again.
Good afternoon, Steve. Thanks for having me.
You're going to tell us about a legendary musician by the name of Sud Bell.
Yes.
Kind of a mystery to the start of this story, isn't it?
It is. He kind of appears in the historical record out of nowhere. We don't know much about his upbringing or anything. He grew up in Wachapreek. And the oldest thing we know about him tells us that he was a creative guy, because this is it. It's Prohibition times. He owns a house on Main Street. Under that house is a still. And he has it set up so that when you have the kitchen faucet, if you turn on the cold water, you get cold water. You turn on the hot water, you get something else.
Oh, boy.
Brilliant.
But the real source of his fame, I guess you could say, was his musical talent?
Exactly. He was a banjo player, but not just any banjo player. The New York Daily News did a story in 1931, a guy who took a hunting trip to Wachapreek and came back, and all he wanted to write about was the South's most virtuoso banjo player in the entire South, Sud Bell. He saw him playing at the Wachapreek Inn. Then the Baltimore Sun called him one of the 7 wonders of the musical world. And then the Associated Press called him one of the best banjo players in the world. And you'd think we'd know more about him, but he was on this path like a rising star. Going to New York, Walter Chrysler cars, gazillionaire, used to bring him into New York to play at his private parties. And he played at these fancy clubs, the Racket Club in New York, where stockbrokers were and everything like that. And he played on Broadway. But there were some idiosyncrasies about Sud Bell. One was, every time he left the Eastern Shore, he couldn't wait to get back. He had to get back right away. Another was, he didn't like to play the banjo because he had to play the banjo, because he had an appointment to play the banjo. He liked to play the banjo because he wanted to play the banjo. So he kind of came back to the Eastern Shore after winning this little bit of fame and all this acclaim, and just started fishing and oystering and playing whenever he wanted to. The Cape Charles Historical Society did an oral history with a guy who was like, oh yeah, I remember Sud Bell. He would be playing out in front of the general store in Sherryton with a hat in front of him, just playing on the street corner. So you imagine one of the greatest banjo players in the world playing street corners in Sherryton and Machapongo and whatever. He used to go over to Norfolk on the weekends. Crazy stuff, isn't it?
Where did he end up, though?
That's actually the best part. He ended up on Hog Island. So Hog Island used to have hundreds of people living there, but everybody had left by 1941 because of storms and erosion and all that. That is, of course, when Sud Bell decided to move to Hog Island. He and his son lived in a 2-room shack there amid all of these destroyed houses and wrecks of houses, and they lived out there by themselves. That's when an Associated Press reporter found him and wrote about his banjo playing stuff, and also that's a story in which Sud declared himself the governor of Hog Island, because he's the only
Why
one.
not?
So you can see the guy on the street corner playing the music in front of him, and everybody's like, good job, governor, and throw him money. He's like such a great Eastern Shore character, just wonderful.
That's
Sud
a
Bell.
wonderful story.
Wachapreek.
Yeah, Wachapreek. Wow. Secrets of the Eastern Shore author Jim Duffy. Thank you as always. You make Thursday so wonderful.
Oh, wow. Thank you.